Hey everybody, this is Alex Fabrega coming at you again with another Teaching Tips Tuesday. Today we have with us Kristen Smedly. She is the founder of Thriving Blind. And how about you introduce yourself for us, Kristen?
Hey, well, I am so happy to be here. Thanks for inviting me. I'm excited to be a part of this platform that has educated so many people on so many topics. I'm a mom. Oh my goodness, I'm a recent dog mom of rescue dogs. I'm not so good at that one. I do have 3 kids, 2 in college, 1 still at home here in the Philly area.
All right, and how did you get into the world of blindness?
Well, I planned my whole life for everything. It all goes right according to plan, which is not true at all. I actually had planned my whole life to be a 3rd grade teacher, and I had my checklist of marriage, McMansion, babies, SUVs, everything came true. And then a doctor said to me with my firstborn baby in my arms, "Your son is blind." And I was instantaneously thrust into a world that I had absolutely no education about.
Absolutely. And that segues perfectly into our topic today, and that is society's perceptions of blindness and how they are largely erroneous. And I have to imagine you have had tons of firsthand experience with this.
Yeah, I mean, firsthand, so much of first person myself. My son Michael, who this was 21 years ago, he was the first blind person I had ever met. And I have a sighted daughter now, and she says, "Boy, Mom, I think you know more blind people than you do sighted people nowadays." So that's a little shocking to remember that he was the first one I had ever met. And the only reference to blindness that I had was 2 things. One was Little House on the Prairie, that show that was out, in the 70s.
Yeah.
Okay, I just dated myself. And it wasn't a good perception of blindness. And the other was Stevie Wonder. And I'll sing for you when you want to close the show out, and you'll know that I didn't think I should be banking on a musician in the house as a blind musician. So I had no point of reference. That's where I began.
And that is something that is so common to parents that have no VI experience, that they get that diagnosis for their child and it's completely life altering to them. And so how did you turn that corner? How did it go from, oh, my poor baby, to what it is now?
Well, I have to admit this for people that are listening, when you hear in a couple of minutes where my life is now, I want everybody to remember that I started this journey, first of all, crashing to the floor of Children's Hospital Philadelphia when the doctor said, "Your son is blind." And then, I'm not proud of it, but I spent about 3 years crying on my couch every single night, praying blindness away, and every single morning being angry that it was still there. That was my first 3 years of this journey. And it was actually when I was pregnant with my second son. My Michael has LCA, CRB1. So the chances were 25% that the next pregnancy was going to be affected. And I'm a very optimistic person, but the math major in college, Kristen, showed up one day when I was 8.5 months pregnant and started to panic. And it was my lowest moment of my life, sad, scared, all the things. And it was my Michael, 3 years old, that came skipping down the hallway into my bedroom where I was sobbing. And he said, "Mommy, isn't this the best day ever?" And I thought, "You have no idea how horrible your life is going to be." And I said to him one simple question: "Why do you think this is the best day?" And he said, "I have all my toys, the sun is shining, and I'm just so happy." And if that doesn't change a mom's heart, it was a hard one, I will admit. It was a huge sucker punch to my heart that the only barrier my son was facing was caused by me. I wasn't getting him the tools he needed to live a thriving life because I was so angry and sad and scared. And to that point, he had been figuring everything out, and he had been the happiest kid I ever saw. I just was banging on the door of wasn't supposed to be my life, instead of opening the doors that were Michael's life and where he was supposed to go.
Well, that is absolutely beautiful. Kids have, if we had the wisdom of the average 3-year-old, I think the world would be going in a much better place.
Yeah. And it's a testament to my biggest point when I talk with parents, and I say this in so much love with my whole entire heart. It's not about us. It's not about our dreams for them. I wanted him on the baseball teams. I wanted him to play football. I wanted him to be the valedictorian. It's not about our dreams for them. I realized in that moment that my role and our role as parents is to get them what they need and follow their lead. And I had to learn that for my sighted daughter as well. That's our role as parents on this planet. And when you get your dreams out of the picture and off the table and off of your kid, first of all, it's a lot easier to not know where they're going, but just get them what they need. Then you're like, whoa, look at the stuff they do. But the second thing is it takes the pressure off of them. And then they get to soar with no weight of your expectations dragging them down. It's hard though.
Oh yeah, I have no kids myself, so I have no grounds to talk about it. But it seems like it would be. What would you say? So you turned that corner, you started opening that door. What is the single biggest thing that gave your two sons access to the world?
I can say with 100% certainty, although there were multiple tools at 21 and 18, thriving in college, it was Braille. It was literacy. It was access to the high level education that the school district we lived in, and that their aptitude was for. My boys are gifted. And it was Braille and accessible technology to get that education to them. And I will say this, and I know that it's a pain point for some folks. Braille for children, Braille is literacy, audio is not.
That's a
It's where
divisive
they
topic.
learned. Yeah, I mean, they learned the grammar, they learned spelling, they were able to sit in advanced placement classrooms and now in multiple college classrooms because they have a good handle on literacy. So that was, I would say, was their biggest access tool that opened every other door that they needed to open.
All right. Well, I have one more question for you then, and that is, what is your favorite part of your job?
Oh gosh, there's a gajillion, and I do make up words like gajillion. But I will say that I sit in gratitude every single day, knowing where I started my journey and what I needed. I get to be the resource for thousands of other people now that I didn't have when my journey began. And I never would have thought 21 years ago that I'd be grateful for this. It is literally the highlight of my life.
Wow. You get to be the you that you needed.
Yeah.
For
Yeah.
other
And
people.
isn't that like an ultimate life of service and success?
Well, thank you so much for coming on and sharing your story with us today, Kristen.
Oh, thanks so much for having me, and thanks for sharing people's stories to keep people thriving.
Absolutely. And thank you so much at home for giving this a watch. We will see you next week with our next Teaching Tips Tuesday. As always, if you have any questions or comments, please put them below. If you have a topic we want us to cover, please tell me. I will try and find an expert. And we will see you next week. Bye.